This is a video that goes with chapter 3 of Ecce Romani, and it deals with the concept of prepositions. So basically it covers what are prepositions. I think of prepositions as space and time words. They're words that we have in English and we have in Latin that tell us where something is, or when something is. So some examples that we have in English: on, in, under, before, words like since, to, towards. Those are all prepositions. And we've seen some of their Latin equivalents. We've seen the Latin word in, which means in, some of the time in Latin. We've seen the word sub, which means under, like a submarine is under the water, or puella est sub arbore. And we've seen the word ad, which means to or toward. So those are three that we've seen so far in Latin. So prepositions usually go with a set phrase. They're not just alone. It's not just to or toward. It's to or toward something. So to the house. And this is a unit that is known as a prepositional phrase. That they're kind of tied together. The house is dependent on the preposition. The preposition is telling us something about the house's position in space or in time. And we see prepositional phrases a lot in Latin. And what I want to emphasize in this video is that prepositional phrases that we see in Latin act a little bit differently than the other words that we see in Latin. So an example of that is we have this phrase ad wheelum. And wheelum there, oh look, it has an am ending. What's up with that? Normally if we had it singular, just house, it'd be wheela. If it were houses, it'd be wheeli. Here it's wheelum. With prepositions, you'll see that the object of the preposition has peculiar qualities. And this is something that we'll investigate more later. Other examples of prepositional phrases where that happens are, we see in this chapter, ex horto. We haven't seen that O ending yet. We've seen sub arbore, which I already mentioned, that E ending. Those aren't anything that we immediately recognize as being singular or plural. And that's because they're working a little bit differently than the rest of the sentence. So to answer the question, how do nouns in prepositional phrases act differently from those in the main part of a sentence, is they have different endings. And for right now, I'm going to ask that when we see these, ad wheelum, ex horto, sub arbore, and when I ask you to reproduce them, you're going to need to reproduce them directly the way you see them in the book, until we get more in depth. And that's basically the gist of that video. I hope that went well. Rewatch it if you need to, and have a good afternoon.